Good morning, guys. Automotive Inc. out here. So today, of course, I'm using my own truck. I'm down here in Timbuktu picking up a 10,000 pound diesel generator, and I'm telling you this much, this is what most people are towing. It's about 10,000, 12,000 pounds. As you guys know, my the big red Kong has done just fine with up to 15,000 pounds. I would love to get myself under 18,000 pounds of gooseneck so I can put this thing to the full test. But let's get in and talk about why gassers suck towing. All right, so we are rolling. I'm gonna reset the fuel economy. So cruising down here empty again. Big red Kong, it basically has been getting, about 17 and a half, 18 on the interstate. Unloaded as long as I keep it within respect to the actual speed limit. Obviously, if you want to go faster than that, you want to get on the throttle, off the throttle, a gas or any truck for that matter, your fuel economy is going to go way down. So here we are hauling, and the truck doesn't even squat. The tongue weight on this trailer isn't really marked for me to see. If I had to guess, it's like a big box. Axles of the trailer in the middle, weighs 10,000 pounds. So we probably got 1,500 pounds of tongue weight, maybe. I don't really know. I wish it was marked on these things. There's not. It's usually the trailer's manufactured at a different place the unit's made at. But nonetheless, so let's get the fuel economy reset here and let's see what happens. So one thing's for sure is riding in the Chevy, a GMC truck, it's a nice riding vehicle. So all in all, going over some rough washboard roads and cattle guards and stuff, it's just a lot nicer than say being in the Godzilla. That was just a rough riding truck. And the Ram I've been driving for the last few weeks, it's a Cummins diesel. It hasn't made a trip down here. I've been down here in the F450, and that thing beat me up for the whole ride as I came down here to pick up fuel cells and another generator. And I towed back also a 150 kW generator, same weight. The back end of the F450 was loaded with empty fuel cells. So right up in that 16,000 pound range, I'm sure, is where that was with the total thing, and it did just fine. It was kind of doggish on some of the long-winded hills, but at the end of the day, that's a V10. That's not a Power Stroke. And this morning I was supposed to be back in the Cummins, and my coworker was going to be in an F250 with the Power Stroke. We were going to come down here and grab these two generators, but nonetheless, people just do whatever they want. So somebody took one of those vehicles home with them for the weekend. I guess it must be nice to not have to pay for a truck, just come get it willy-nilly. So some of those trucks are rentals, so they're not marked with our company logo, so I guess you come take it for the weekend, do whatever you want. So I ended up leaving him the Cummins, and I just headed out of town in my truck. So it was a good opportunity to bring this out here again, because we've done 15 and the truck did great. So 15K was the Battle of the Plains. I'll put a link in the description for that start of that video. There was a Ford side and a Chevy side. You guys can check both of those out. I'll put a link in the description. Then we took 12,000 up into the mountains, and with the smaller fifth wheel, and we did the Eisenhower tonneau run, the alleged world toughest tow, and both trucks, the Godzilla and the Chevy, did just fine. But people say, well, you could go heavier. Well, I don't think most people are going heavier with any truck necessarily, unless you like I said, you're into heavy equipment, or you do like hot shotting. So I think for the most part, most people are towing less than 12, and whether that's conventional towing from the bumper, if you will, or you're doing fifth wheel towing, I think that's probably what most people are. I went out and did a couple videos this weekend at a dealer on things to look out for buying used, and what I can tell you is probably 60% of those RVs are tow behinds, and I didn't see a single one over 13,000, and most of them hovered in the 8,000 pound range empty, and they had a gross vehicle weight rating of like 10.5, so, or less. So I mean, you're talking, most people are not getting anywhere close to that. So this is actually kind of a nice test, because people, you could assume that if you lighten the load, the truck will do better, and I'm going to guarantee that. But and you just kind of have to speculate as to what fuel economy may look like. But we're going to get down this dirt road, and we'll talk a little bit more why towing with a gasser sucks. All right, guys, so now it's not jostling like mad up there on the camera, so it's a little bit better. But although it was jostling, it may look even more exacerbated on the camera. In theory, it really had a pretty good ride. It wasn't really that bad at all. The trailer that we're towing today really isn't compressing the suspension hardly at all, so the truck's basically still kind of raked forward. Yeah, and really, I mean, you don't even really need to use tow haul in this circumstance, because I mean, this truck doesn't even feel it's back there. I mean, it does compress the suspension a little bit, so the ride is even a little bit better than normal. But we're going to turn on tow haul mode just for the grins of it, for grade braking and whatnot, and then we'll get up here and then we'll set the cruise control at the legal limit. But yeah, so why does towing with a gas truck suck? Well, because it doesn't have any power, right? Well, this has really good power considering it is a gas engine versus a turboed engine, i.e. a diesel. They suck because they don't grade brake. Well, I think if you watch the Battle of the Rockies and the Beast in the East, the Battle in the Plains, I think you can see that the actual engine braking does quite well. One thing they say is resale is better. Well, than a gas, because gas resale sucks. Well, not necessarily, I guess, depending on your market. So in Colorado, the market loves trucks. Trucks are king out here. You go up north into Wyoming, trucks are king, man. If you drive like a 4-door Civic, better, because you love fuel economy, because you're not going to get your best resale value up there. So even though I did take a little bit of a hit when it came to getting rid of the General, it really wasn't that bad, because in consideration, I didn't have a trade when I bought that one, so I had some gap. I'm gonna get that back eventually. Let's see here, had some taxes, some sales tax, so I mean, some of that is the hit that you're gonna take if that's what you do. So actually resale wasn't too bad. And here, because the market needs trucks all the time, a good quality truck of any value is going to be it. So like I've always said, you pay more, you will get more. But if you don't pay that, you're going to get good trade value as long as your truck's not a complete jalopy. So, all right. And then again, when it comes to fuel economy, again, that's subjective to how you drive. So these, again, when it says, hey, towing with a gas engine sucks. They're horrible. They're just not as good. They don't last as long. Again, time will be the test of that, because I've seen people nurse, some cars for 500,000 miles, and you would never even think that kind of gas vehicle would even make it that far, but they did. And I've seen people trash diesels at 100,000. So again, that's going to be subjective to maintenance and care, proper usage of the vehicle itself. So advantages over the gas, obviously, you can idle this thing as much as you want. There's no issues getting into fuel islands. I've never had any issue getting into a fuel island in this day and age, or even in the last few years. I used to drive, deliver or haul fuel in a semi-tractor. All of those stops are made to get a semi in, so I can get a pickup, obviously, and even with a large fifth wheel. Power, I've never had really any issue with it. And when it comes to engine braking, these seem to be doing just fine. We're actually going to hit a pretty good hill in a second. We'll kind of watch how the truck does. We'll set the cruise, at the 75 and kind of see. Again, my family's going to end up taking the General's gone, the 7.3 Godzilla's gone. That one never had any issue with power either. The transmission was way busier than, say, this Allison one is in the Chevy, but both did really well. I mean, amongst things, when we went up the Eisenhower tunnel grade, really Beast in the East battle where we did on the plains. Both trucks did really well. But we're gonna head up to Mesa Verde here not too long from now and towing our little fifth wheel, so 12,000 pounds. And that's like 40 miles of grade between up and down. So that's actually gonna be pretty fun to see how the truck does with engine temps and whatnot. So really not that bad. Again, towing with the Cummins, it did pretty good on fuel economy. Towing wise, again in the city and whatnot, it was getting like, you know, 15-ish, 16-ish, so that's not too bad. But here's a pretty good grade. I'm gonna set the cruise at, you know, the 65. It's a 6% grade. Here in a second you'll see the other day I came through here and a truck must have fell asleep. They went through the guardrail. Man, it had to be a wicked ride. But, you know, nonetheless, fuel economy, again, going up and down hills once we regulate. Right now I've only got 14 miles on the trip reset, so we're at 11.4 miles per gallon. It's just not a fair amount of data to really say that that's going to be your fuel economy. But here we are, we're pushing it down. I set the cruise control at 65, and so it's keeping it right about the 70. So right here you'll see kind of some cones off to the right where the truck went out. And over this is early in the morning. I was down here about 4 in the morning. That had to be pretty wicked to be part of right there. Definitely clean your britches out. But I mean, right here it's keeping it right at 70. I mean, I could have came down the hill at 75. The Chevy is sure-footed. The front end's planted well. I really see zero issues with anything. So, yeah, I mean, it's just really good. I anticipate fuel economy on this run. I'll put it in the description later. This is about 187 miles, I think, roughly, back to where I'm taking this back to. So at the end of the day, I'll put in there what I got once we get all the data in there. Some of it's going to be city, not a lot of hills or anything like that. But I mean, the truck's doing real well. No issues with that. And again, for most people, when they say you can't tow with gassers, towing with gassers suck, that's just people not being up to date. 15-20 years ago, probably, you know. And then before that, diesels actually sucked and gas trucks were king, but none of them were like fast, or if you will, they just got the job done. But things are definitely changed now, and these are definitely in the ranking. Do enjoy driving the Chevy. The Chevy's great, does its job well. The Ford did well until it had an engine issue, but that was just that truck. It doesn't mean all of them are gonna have that. But yeah, super quiet in here, great ride. Again, it's just a myth, guys. Can't tow, gassers suck, all of that stuff, just a myth. You know, you'll save 10,000 bucks right off the top not going with diesel, plus all the maintenance, plus all the issues, and then you can actually use a gas engine truck as a daily driver, which a diesel, really, that's not going to be best for it, and you'll probably end up with more issues than not. So, but we're going to kick up the vehicle up to 75. We're going to get this run done, and I'll post in there later what we got for fuel economy. Guys, I appreciate you being here. If you wouldn't mind, smash that button down there in the corner so you can enjoy more content, and we'll see you on the next one.